Diamond Mac channel, welcome. Right, people who watch my videos regularly will recognise this. Recent upload, I was practicing scrolling back metal, like rolling it back to get a scroll type shoulder, just practicing the rolly bit. This one, it works, it looks kind of nice I guess, but it's a bit toilet rolly. I think it will be better, which some people did comment, if I taper it down thick to thin. This one I just milled out a long flat section, that's why it looks like that. It's going to look better if it gets gradually thicker. It might be harder to turn up. It might need more annealing and a bit more strength to roll it up, but it will look better, I think. So I'm going to try that. And then as I've got this whole chunk of metal, I'm going to try and do the whole shank. So both ends are scrolled back, and then it's got a long, thin shank. So I'm going to start off, just kind of guessing, I'm going to start off with a chunk of metal like that. We'll do loads of milling in this video. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off and start off with a nice chunk of metal. This is a cut. This is quite a thin saw blade. It's a 4, I think. Might be 3. Anyway, yeah, 3 or a 2 is good for hacking through big chunks of metal. I'm just going to cut this rounded end off so I'm milling it kind of same-ish, both ends. So call it 25mm long by 4.3. That's what I'm starting off with. So I'm hoping to stretch that out so it's a long shank. I think I sort of made one, didn't I? Yeah, I had this one. Something like this is what I'm going to turn that into. Not quite like that. I didn't like that, that's why I didn't bother continuing with it. But yeah, we're sort of doing that to this. So this is just a video for the YouTube channel. It's not like a full instructional guide. It's not super in-depth. I will just get on with lots of it and then just sort of update you as I proceed and sprinkle the video with bits of info. Just I'll tell you why I'm doing what I'm doing. First thing that comes to mind, I've just got a new charcoal block here, imported from England. I'm going to try and make this one last. I don't like the ones you get in Japan. I like the English ones. It's sort of like proper charcoal. But yeah, they wear out if you do loads of annealing on them, especially in platinum. So I've got the last little chunk of my old one. I'm just going to finish it off by annealing things like that. I'm just going to do it on my old bit of charcoal block. Just saves wear and tear on my new one. This nice flat surface is really helpful for soldering things. Right, anneal this. Silver anneals, they're like cherry red. Come on. Okay. Do one side then the other while I've got the mills adjusted. Probably going to be combining this with a lot of hammering because it's quite slippy in these rollers. Do a bit of hammering. This is where the rounded end of the hammer comes in helpful. Don't use it often. I definitely think you get the most benefit from annealing if you just let metal cool down slowly, really noticing it. Annealing it, hammering it, putting it through the mills. This time I let it cool down under its own time and didn't put it in water or acid or anything, and it just feels so much softer. So bear that in mind. Okay, so I've got this weird little thing, but just like that. Just to give you measurement, in case you're making this and you want as much information as possible. It's about 30mm long. My ends are about 9. That milled back, hammered and milled back. About 11. That big chunk in the middle. Now we've got to do some careful, clever bit of milling to stretch out only the middle section. So there's no reason why that can't turn into that. I'm making the effort to get this all in one piece because it's so much more preferable to have a shank in one section if possible. If you're making something for stock, I would always try quite hard to have no solder joint in it anywhere. But yeah, it'd be much easier if you just did 2 halves and then, or the shoulders themselves, and then soldered it all together. But then you've got a ring covered in solder joints. It's almost like it might be sold as new because it's recently completed, but it's kind of like a repaired ring. So it's got cuts and joins all over it. Okay, right, so that's getting long and it's getting really wide now, so I want to start squashing it that way. Which is going to be fun. Okay, that's all I can move it. So I've got one hand on the handle, one hand on top, and I'm watching it and just jigging it backwards and forwards, and then it squashes down and I'm turning the top. Looks a bit narrower now. Much longer. Okay, so I kneel that again. Loads of stopping and annealing. I'm going to run it through the mills one more time, trying to get it narrower and longer, and then I'll go back to the top side. I started this video yesterday, so I'm getting on with it this morning. I don't think I explained at the start of the video, we're not making this, we're making like the back of the ring shank and the top of the shoulders. That's what this is. So it goes under the back of the finger and then the top, which is rolled back. That's what we're making. So that's what this is about. Okay, it's about as far as I want to take it with the mills and hammering and stuff. Just to ensure I get a nice symmetrical straight thing, I'm thinking of cutting the ends flat and then soldering it up into a ring, putting it on a ring stick and tapping it a little bit more, and then getting it just nice and even both sides all the way around. I think it's just, I just want to do that extra bit of work. Perhaps not necessary, you could tidy it up at this stage, but I just want it straight and nice. And then the good advantage of making it into a ring and put it on a ring stick is you can get that inner circumference really flat and nice. If you look at this from the side, it's got a lump both sides. We can hammer one side flat. That side's flatter than the other side, so that'll be my inside. I just want to do it. Yeah, you haven't got to. I think some jewellers wouldn't bother, but I like doing extra work to make things easier for myself, if that makes sense. Turned it up round, soldered it up. You can see I've hammered it. I hammered it quite a lot here and here to extend that out a little bit, and my shank was a little bit short, and sort of basically filed that up. It's not perfect, but it's I think it's good to continue. So anyway, I'm going to cut through it now. Open it up, anneal it, and then try and roll the ends back. I already did a video on this, so I won't go into too much detail, but basically I'm doing the same amount on both sides, so they both progress together. Just trying to get this first kink over just a little bit more, and then I can just squash it flat. I may use my file to just cut it back and get it nice and straight. So then when I roll it over the second time, it should work much smoother. But I'm still nervous about how it gets thicker quite quickly down the side. As suspected, it is harder. Also, when I did the other one, I just had like a strong bit of metal and I was just holding onto it with pliers. This is a ring shank, which is much more delicate, so it's difficult for a few extra reasons. So as I suspected, the metal got thicker, yeah? And I just couldn't roll it over again. I mean, it doesn't look too bad as it is, but it would have been nice to roll it one more time, but just had it tapered too severely. I'm making a bit of effort. I had a bit of a crack in the metal there as well. That's what you get for working with melt-ups. So I'm just tidying it up a little bit, but the main theme of this video was doing the milling in the middle. I just wanted to show you what was possible with the mills.